arrested nearly 1,000 people across the U.S. in the last 24 hours. This as new policies lead to a showdown with Colombia, how the Trump administration is implementing its mass deportation plans. Plus, thousands of Palestinians are returning to what's left of northern Gaza a year after the start of the Israel-Hamas war. When can we expect the next hostage release? And
we've been a State Farm customer for more than 20 years. We paid on time. We never made a claim. There's no reason for them to drop us.
The uncertain road to recovery. Fires ravaged Southern California, and for years prior, insurance companies had stopped offering fire coverage, leaving many without it. What does it mean for the families hoping to rebuild? Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with President Trump's immigration crackdown. Agents are conducting what they call targeted operations across the country. Nearly 1,000 arrests reported in just 24 hours. And the Trump administration vows they will expand. Multiple law enforcement agencies are taking part in the raids. Similar scenes are playing out from Chicago to Atlanta to Los Angeles. Undocumented immigrants are now being deported in military aircraft. And when Colombia's president tried to turn 2 planes away, President Trump threatened a 25% tariff on all Colombian imports. Colombia's president threatened tariffs right back, but eventually conceded. Other countries, including Mexico, are now preparing shelters for a possible influx of deported people. And in immigrant communities, fear is settling in. As hundreds of protesters take to the streets to support them, immigrant rights groups are speaking out, advising families on how to respond in the event of a raid. ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott leads us off tonight from Florida.
Tonight, in cities across the country, a surge in immigration raids like this one in Chicago. Agents pulling a man from a home.
It was your car, right?
Walking him out to their waiting vehicles. Part of a 24-hour nationwide roundup. The Trump administration says arrested 956 undocumented immigrants, the highest daily number since Trump was sworn in. Border Czar Tom Homan in Chicago to supervise the operation there, but the sweeps from coast to coast. In Denver, agents raiding a nightclub, detaining around 50 people. A bus driving them away. The DEA says they were associated with the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. These are the images the administration wants out there, hoping to convince undocumented migrants to self-deport and others not to come in the first place. Here in Miami, Homeland Security posting these photos, agents leading people away in handcuffs.
There's a more robust posture out there. We're making more arrests. We're doing, like I said, what the law intends that we do, and we are doing it, but just more on a like I said, in a more overt presence.
The local ICE field director says they're targeting violent offenders, but they're not stopping there.
Are other undocumented immigrants off the table right now?
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily they're off the table. That's kind of on a case-by-case basis. We make a discretionary call on every case that we arrest, whether that's a criminal or not a criminal, but we're going to take an enforcement action on every individual.
What does the next stage look like?
The next stage is going to be, again, we're still going to go after the worst first, but as we go through those lists, individuals primarily with final orders of removal, perhaps that don't have criminal records, I would say those would be the next priorities that we'll go after, and eventually we'll see where that leads us to.
In some communities where undocumented immigrants work and pay taxes, a sense of fear setting in.
We are here to address the fear. No one should be afraid to go to work. No child should be afraid to go to school.
This as military jets flying migrants out of the United States. Another C-17 heading to Guatemala tonight. Over the weekend, the government of Colombia refusing to allow 2 American military planes carrying migrants to land. President Trump threatening to impose heavy tariffs on Colombian imports, which would have spiked prices at the grocery store on coffee and other products. Colombia fired back, threatening to slap tariffs on American goods. But before long, they backed down, agreeing to accept the deportation flights.
We've made it clear to every country that they will be taking back our people, and if they don't, they'll pay a very high economic price.
Tonight, south of the border, Mexican authorities preparing for an influx of deportees. Drone footage showing massive tent shelters now under construction.
Rachel Scott joins us now from Doral, Florida. Rachel, how are other agencies responding to the Trump administration's efforts?
Well, it is not just ICE, Lindsay. From the DEA to the FBI, this is all hands on deck. That is what officials told me today, that there are resources pouring in from every corner of the federal government, all with the goal of helping President Donald Trump achieve his campaign promise of mass deportations. They say they are starting with violent criminals first, but after that, they say that no one who is in the country illegally is off the table. Officials telling me tonight to expect these operations to start ramping up and ramping up quickly. Lindsay.
All right, Rachel Scott, our thanks to you. Advocacy groups in Chicago are now suing the Trump administration over the planned deportations. And joining us now is the executive director of one of those groups, Sophia Zaman from the Raise the Floor Alliance, which helps give low-wage workers access to quality jobs. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you briefly tell us what you're seeking from this lawsuit, both now and long term?
Well, first, thanks for having me. So Raise the Floor Alliance is a coalition of worker centers that builds power with workers, including immigrant workers, who are highly concentrated and highly exploited in Chicago's low-wage industries. And so our worker center members, along with the other organizational plaintiffs, have long fought to make Chicago a welcoming city for all of our residents. And so we joined this lawsuit because we believe that we're being targeted by the Trump administration for our advocacy and for our views, which is unconstitutional and a blatant violation of our First Amendment rights. Trump made it very clear his contempt for the sanctuary movement when he was a candidate. And now he's using this arbitrary mass immigration enforcement to sow fear among our communities.
And what have you been hearing from the community that you work with about these raids?
These raids have really caused a lot of panic and chaos in our communities. There's so much uncertainty, not only, around the possibility of being picked up or the possibility of accidentally being included in these mass raids. And so, parts of our very busy city feel almost like a ghost town. People are staying at home. And I can speak for our workers' rights organizations. It is having a chilling effect on workers coming forward to claim their workplace rights because they fear the risk of deportation.
As you know, though, the counter argument is that these people are breaking the law by being here. What do you say to that?
I think first and foremost, it's important to emphasize that every person is entitled to due process in this country. Everyone has a family, and this kind of enforcement hurts everyone. There are just some people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. And, we also know that ICE may deceive the public and use really egregious examples to dehumanize and justify their actions. But this kind of a vilification is really not reflective of the real harms that are happening on our community.
Outside of the lawsuit, what else is your organization doing to help the immigrant community there in Chicago?
We're doing what we do best, which is staying connected and deeply rooted with our immigrant communities. We're making sure to educate immigrant workers about their rights. We are making sure to connect any incidents to our network's rapid response lines. And we're encouraging all of our allies that if they see any ICE activity to record that, and so we can keep track and keep our families together and safe.
Sophia Zaman, we thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's stay on this topic of immigration now with Arizona State Senator John Kavanaugh to discuss efforts there and how they're supporting the Trump administration. Senator, thank you so much for your time today. Last week, Arizona State Senate Republicans introduced the Arizona Immigration Cooperation and Enforcement Act. What are the goals of this legislation introduced by your colleagues in the state Senate?
Well, we want to cooperate as fully as possible with the Trump administration's efforts to finally secure the border and, in addition, enforce immigration law nationwide.
The Pew Research Center estimates in 2022 about 5% of Arizona's labor force was made up of unauthorized immigrants. That's nearly 200,000 workers, many of them in agriculture. Are you concerned at all about the impacts on the U.S. Food supply chain that relies so heavily on immigrants?
Well, I am not. The efforts of President Trump, as enthusiastic as they are, will not result in the immediate removal of millions of illegal immigrants. It's going to take time for this to occur. In the beginning, because he's prioritizing criminals, I don't think that's going to have very much of an impact on our workforce. But I think we have adequate ways of providing visas for people who have been screened and who obey our laws to come in and fill these gaps.
Another priority of the Trump administration is, of course, lowering the price of food. Are you concerned at all that these mass deportations will threaten efforts to reduce food prices?
Well, like I said, I think they'll come in gradually. They can be made up for by having more, by better technology, automation, and bringing in legal workers. If food prices go up a little bit, well, taxes might go down because we'll have less expenses caused by illegal immigrants in terms of benefits, education, criminal justice expenses. The bottom line is the law, and people want the law enforced, and illegal immigration just spits in the face of the law.
Now, by those same Pew estimates, more than 4.4 million U.S.-born children in this country live with a parent who does not have legal status. So if those parents are removed from this country in these enhanced ICE operations, what then happens to those millions of children?
Well, as a parent myself, I can tell you that if I was in the country illegally and I was apprehended, I would take my family with me.
What about those who don't, who came here because they were concerned fleeing violence or a lack of resources in their home country? They feel like in the United States their children will have better opportunity.
Then we'll have to rely on churches, social groups, government agencies to do whatever we care for when children become parentless, be it through the death of their family, abandonment, or the parent going to prison. It happens all the time.
So let's just think that through, because I'm wondering if that's the case, are you concerned at all that then those children who are left without caregivers, whose lives are so disrupted, will then require more support from the American system, financially or otherwise?
Well, I think most of the people here illegally will take their families with them. I think these are honest, decent people who wouldn't abandon their children. The number of people who are here on claims of persecution, I believe, are minuscule. Most of these people are economic refugees simply looking for a better way of life. As far as I know, only one country, Haiti, has been designated as a do not travel to Americans is too dangerous. Certainly Mexico isn't. So I think most of them will do the right thing and take their families with them.
All right. Arizona State Senator John Kavanaugh, we thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
President Trump is moving quickly to remake the U.S. military and expected to sign several new executive actions, including one calling for an Iron Dome missile defense system for the U.S. It comes as newly confirmed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth arrived at the Pentagon for the first time, greeted by America's top general, Joint Chiefs Chairman C.Q. Brown. For what Hegseth said when asked if he would fire General Brown, here's our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Newly minted Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth arrived at the Pentagon today. After a squeaker of a confirmation vote, the Senate split 50-50, Vice President J.D. Vance breaking the tie.
Good morning, everybody. How we doing? It's an honor to be here.
Hegseth's first day comes with new executive actions by President Trump. A call for what Trump dubs an Iron Dome for America, a missile defense shield similar to Israel's. It would likely cost hundreds of billions of dollars that Congress would need to approve. Another executive action calls for the military to reinstate with full back pay and benefits any service members who were terminated for refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Trump is also directing Hegseth to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and to change guidance that allowed transgender people to serve in the military. By some estimates, there are about 15,000 transgender troops now serving, about half of 1%.
The lawful orders of the President of the United States will be executed inside this Defense Department swiftly and without excuse.
The new secretary today was greeted by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown, someone Hegseth has said should be fired. Writing in his book, C.Q. Brown doesn't so much care if quality individuals serve at the Air Force Academy, so long as they all look different or more like him. Today, Hegseth was asked if he still wants to fire General Brown.
Joint Chiefs of Staff and other members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Standing with him right now. Look forward to working with him.
Our thanks to John Carl. A Chinese company has announced a powerful new AI tool sending tech stocks into a steep dive. The tech-heavy NASDAQ index dropped 3%. One stock, NVIDIA, set the record for the biggest single-day loss ever. Many of America's giant tech companies have bet their futures on AI. What does China's success mean for them now? Here's our chief business and economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis.
Tonight, the biggest single-day loss for a stock ever. Shares of NVIDIA, which makes the chips used to power artificial intelligence, plunging nearly $600 billion. The sell-off triggered by the emergence of a powerful and more efficient new Chinese AI chatbot called DeepSeek. Its release, a kind of wake-up call to investors, causing them to rethink U.S. supremacy and the costs in the battle for AI dominance. DeepSeek, the app, tonight #1 in both Apple and Google's app stores, built in China, allegedly at a fraction of the cost, using far less energy than Western competitors like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, recently named to President Trump's new AI project, Stargate, warned about the technology in the wrong hands when we spoke in 2023.
This will be the greatest technology humanity has yet developed.
So in the wrong human hands, it could be a very different device.
We do worry a lot about authoritarian governments developing this.
Perhaps some ominous foreshadowing there. Rebecca Jarvis joins us now. Rebecca, a bad day for tech stocks for sure, but what's the big picture here?
Well, when you zoom out, Lindsay, the stock market is still up over the last year, 22%. That's the S&P 500, which is what's reflected in most 401ks. And I have to add that President Trump has just taken notice of what's happened with DeepSeek. He's just talked about this new development from Chinese AI, and he's called it a wake-up call to U.S. companies, saying it is a message to them they must compete and win. Lindsay?
Rebecca Jarvis reporting for us. Thanks so much, Rebecca. So what does this all mean for the future of AI? Here to talk more about it is Ziyi Yang, who's a senior writer on Chinese tech for Wired magazine. Thank you so much for joining us. First question to you is very simple. How did a small team of engineers in China surpass some of the largest and most well-resourced companies on Earth by developing this AI model?
So we know that the team of DeepSeek really relies a lot on open source AI. We know that it has learned from Meta's open source AI model, and also the model of Alibaba, another Chinese tech giant. So they're building on top of these research results of other big AI companies. However, they're also putting in their own secret sauce about how to make the model more efficiency, make it cheaper to train, and that we have the result of the DeepSeek RI, which is the model that's making all the rounds right now.
Are you skeptical at all of the claims made by the DeepSeek engineering team that they were able to develop this all for a fraction of the cost simply by using inferior processing chips?
Well, we know that when they're talking about kind of the cost to train their model, they're only talking about like a small subset of like what they really spend on. You need to pay to hire these researchers. You need to pay to hire someone to label the data and clean the data for you. I don't think they included all of this in their paper, but it's not their fault. Also, because there's so much news about the chip export control right now, the company's also not being very transparent about what chips they really have in total. They're just saying that with a small subset of their chips, you can still train a powerful model.
Just last week, President Trump announced that massive $500 billion private sector investment in artificial intelligence by OpenAI and Oracle, among others. Given this recent news about DeepSeek, do you think that the United States isn't as far out in front of this technology as many originally thought?
Well, I think what's happening with the DeepSeek's newest model is that it's telling us there is a second way to go. Previously, we're thinking with OpenAI, with Google, the more chips you have and the longer you train the AI models, the better performance they will get. However, with DeepSeek, they're telling us actually you don't need that many chips. There is a different way to do this. And I think that will challenge a lot of what the industry is doing right now. It may also give a chance for the smaller players to be like, we don't have the money that OpenAI has, but we can still come up with a competitor of them. I think that will be a big industry shift in paradigm.
And big picture, what does this mean for the future of artificial intelligence space? Are we going to see more lower cost options pop up to compete with some of the major players like OpenAI?
I think that's definitely much more likely after we saw what DeepSeek RI can achieve. We also know that even though these Chinese companies, they have the chip constraint, they do not have the access to all these NVIDIA latest chips, they can still make pretty comparable work. So I think that tells us a lot more about kind of like to reimagine the chip export control policies, to reimagine the US AI-China tech race. We may need to take a different strategy there.
Ziyi Young, we thank you so much for your time and insight.
Thank you, Lindsay.
In the Middle East, the shaky ceasefire in Gaza is holding, and today Hamas provided more information on hostages with more new releases and prisoner exchanges planned for this week. Meanwhile, striking images today as hundreds of thousands of Palestinians return to their homes in the north after more than a year of being displaced. Here's our foreign correspondent, Britt Clennon.
More than 300,000 Palestinians returning to northern Gaza for the first time tonight. Massive crowds and long lines walk this main highway along the sea. Families, children smiling, singing in the streets as they return to what's left of their homes. Wayal grateful to be back unharmed, even though her home is flattened and her family must now live in a tent. What happens to Gaza is still uncertain. President Trump suggesting to clean out the Gaza Strip by moving Palestinians to another country.
I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. You're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing.
Just 24 hours ago, the fragile ceasefire deal seemed to be on the brink after Israel accused Hamas of withholding a hostage. Hamas later agreeing to release 3 hostages on Thursday, on top of a scheduled hostage prisoner exchange on Saturday. Still no word on whether American Sagi Dekelchen and Keith Siegel are part of that release.
Our thanks to Britt Clennon. The woman charged in connection with the fatal shooting of a U.S. Border Patrol agent appeared in court today. Teresa Youngblood faces 2 weapons charges in connection with the death of Border Patrol agent David Muir. Court documents show the gun Youngblood used was purchased by a third person who was a person of interest on a separate double homicide investigation, and a journal recovered from the vehicle that Youngblood allegedly owned referred to drug use. A federal judge dropped the order that barred the founder of the Oath Keepers from entering Washington, D.C. without the court's permission. Stuart Rhodes, founder of the right-wing extremist group Oath Keepers, was sentenced to 18 years in prison for plotting to stop the certification of the 2020 presidential elections by force. President Donald Trump recently commuted Rhodes' sentence. We're watching a major storm moving across the country tonight, bringing rain to California. The storm will then move into Texas and ultimately the Northeast. So far, the system has dropped up to 1 inch of rain in Southern California, causing flash flooding and mudslides after the fires there. Cars, as you can see, they're getting stuck in the road. Let's get right to our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, Lindsay, so Los Angeles had more rain than they'd had in 9 months. And even though the rain has pulled away, the land can still move. So the mudslide threat sticks around for days and sometimes even weeks after. So we'll be watching that carefully. But the actual part of the low pressure system twists through the desert Southwest. Phoenix and Las Vegas desperately need rain. They are right now at their second longest stretch without measurable rain. So they get a little shot. But then the heaviest is going to come together Wednesday night through Thursday as severe storms, mostly in Texas. Along I-35 from, say, Waco down to Austin and San Antonio. It's a damaging wind threat with large hail, and then flash flooding possible east of Dallas up through Texarkana, Little Rock, and Memphis through the day Thursday. Also, this same storm is going to keep marching east, and even though we have a couple low clippers early in the week, it's mostly rain that takes over from New York City, Connecticut, even Boston right on the line there. Many of us, though, Lindsay, are in a snow deficit, even though I'm sure not that many people are desperate for more snow. We would, by average, need it.
All right, Ginger Z for us. Thanks so much, Ginger.
You got it.
The White House unveiled the official portrait of the First Lady today. Melania Trump sported business attire and leaned into a power pose in her dramatic black and white portrait. The picture was taken by the renowned Belgian celebrity photographer Regine Mahou. She also took Melania's official portrait in 2017. Still much more to get to here on Prime. Tax season is upon us, what you can expect this year. But next, as people work to recover from the Los Angeles fires, our Matt Gutman investigates how recent changes in the state's home insurance industry are creating an uncertain road to recovery.
Well, an insurance company is supposed to protect you. That's why they're there. So it makes no sense why they would drop us or anyone else, especially when they have the funds to insure people.
Friday night, a mystery that shook a small town.
I woke up to the gunshot. Mom, she's hysterical.
Then, after losing her first husband, how could this happen?
Okay, she's had not one, but 2 husbands shot in the head.
Miriam became convinced she was being watched.
And then...
There's a dramatic discovery under her doormat.
It's a handwritten note. Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run.
All new 2020, Friday night on ABC.
This family is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're gonna make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
The Kardashians are here!
What have you been up to?
What haven't we been up to?
We're going to Vegas.
This is my 40th birthday.
Kim and Chloe take India.
That Monday.
I feel like Cinderella at the ball.
Here, I make a hole in his closet. You must really like him.
Such a stage mom. Where do you think she learned it?
I'm Kris Jenner.
Oh my God, I'm Kris Jenner.
There's a new trend on the red carpet. Celebrities opening up about dissolving facial fillers and swearing them off for good.
I'm so against any kind of body filler. I had to reverse all of that damage.
It's like everybody's chasing this one look.
I would just say don't rush into anything unless you're 100% sure.
Facelift After Fillers, now streaming on Hulu.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home.
Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
Get excited!
I love that so much. It's time for GMA Life.
GMA Life, streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
After every tragedy, every natural disaster, eyes inevitably turn toward the future, toward rebuilding both homes, schools, and businesses, but also a sense of comfort and security in their community. But in fire-ravaged Southern California, it may not be so simple. For the last few years, some insurance companies have stopped offering fire coverage, or others have pulled out of the state entirely as we march toward what some experts are calling an uninsurable future, leaving so many with limited or no options to protect themselves and start over. How did this happen, and what does it mean for the future of natural disaster-prone states? ABC News investigates. Here's our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
For weeks, we watched as parts of the City of Angels burned.
Everything is catching fire here.
The flames scorching everything in sight.
You feel how powerful that wind is.
A wind-fueled inferno where gusts approached 100 miles an hour. The most destructive fires I've covered in my 24 years as a reporter. So far, about 13,000 structures have been destroyed, an estimated tens of billions of dollars in economic losses. We've come to expect that insurance companies will fill the gap, but the destruction here is so vast and the costs so high, there are questions whether there will be enough insurance money to rebuild. It's a nationwide trend in the wake of disasters amplified by climate change that some experts say is part of our uninsurable future. And homeowners like Jules Fawn are on the front lines. On Tuesday, January 7th, she'd been on a walk when her husband Terry called. He was panicked, telling her they needed to evacuate right away.
This fire is getting worse.
If I just would have gone back earlier, I could have taken pictures, albums. They're things that are not monetarily worth anything, but sentimental and mean so much, and I won't ever get to see again.
Jules and Terry are now living in a hotel with their dog, Coda. Almost everything they had went up in flames. They'll have to file a claim under the California FAIR Plan to see what they can get for the total loss of their home. The FAIR Plan is the insurance of last resort here in case of fire damage, but now nearly 500,000 Californian households are on it. It's typically more expensive with more limited coverage. The funds had to sign on after State Farm didn't renew their fire policy last fall, just a few months before the fire destroyed their home.
We've been a State Farm customer for more than 20 years. We paid on time. We never made a claim. There's no reason for them to drop us.
State Farm is in the business of risk. It's the largest property and casualty insurance provider in California and in the nation. Its advertisements promise to be there for you in times of need.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, Dave.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there is not ringing true right now.
State Farm, they betrayed us.
In a letter to the Fonz that they provided to ABC News, State Farm cited substantial wildfire hazard as part of the reason they decided not to renew their fire policy. State Farm told ABC News that their non-renewal decisions were not made lightly and only after careful analysis of their future capacity to serve their customers. They also said that they understand this is a very difficult time for those impacted by these wildfires and that they are on the ground helping our customers recover. Additionally, they said that they have already put over $500 million back into customers' hands since the start of the wildfires this year. State Farm's decision is now increasingly common among insurance companies who are dropping customers in California.
Insurers absolutely want to be doing business in a state like California.
Sean Kevelin, the CEO of the Insurance Information Institute, says this decision to not renew customers in California was inevitable. But that's not what the companies want. He blames California regulators who adjust rates on behalf of their consumers. He says they've kept rates too low to accurately reflect the amount of risk in the state.
When they're forced to underwrite in a way that's simply just not profitable, and they have to send those non-renewal notices that you're talking about.
But regulators disagree. They say they're keeping rates fair and affordable for Californians. But it's why insurance companies say they're walking away from people like the Fonz rather than risking losing money.
We spoke to several consumers in California, one of whom had been with State Farm for over 20 years. And she felt betrayed, she said, by State Farm when they didn't renew her.
Insurers are not making these decisions in an easy manner, but they are at a point where it's been decades at which they've been unable to price insurance in California in a way that reflects the high level of risk.
But still, other California homeowners, even those who didn't lose their homes in the LA fires, say they also felt betrayed by their insurance companies. ABC News finding a class action lawsuit outside San Diego where plaintiffs are suing Liberty Mutual, alleging they engaged in, quote, unlawful and fraudulent actions to wrongfully drop homeowners' policies.
I got a letter in August telling me that it's not going to be renewed, my policy. And they told me that I have algae, moss, mildew in my roof.
Liberty Mutual had taken an aerial photo of her home.
I couldn't see what the arrow was showing, so I decided to hire a contractor to inspect my roof.
The contractor found her roof to be in incredible shape.
I went back to the insurance company telling them what the inspector told me. They said there is no way will insure your home.
Since filing this lawsuit, I've talked to over 100 people with very similar stories. They've challenged it in the same fashion Maria had and came out with the same result that Maria did.
Liberty Mutual told ABC News that they could not comment on pending litigation.
Have you heard of lawsuits like this, and what's your take on it?
My take is that we have a significant legal system abuse problem in the United States as it relates to the insurance industry. More often than not, the consumer is going to litigation first when it used to be a last resort.
But Michelle believes this case is indicative of issues in the wider industry.
I think that they have done a very good job of being like, poor us, there's fires, there's floods, there's storms. And what they leave out of that is the fact that they're making more money than they ever have.
They're supposed to be a risk-bearing industry, but now even the slightest hint of what might be a new risk, and they're walking away. The insurance companies have bulked up their profits even as they were walking away from our state and our communities.
The property and casualty insurance industry, which includes homeowners, auto, and business, altogether made record profits in 2023 with $88 billion. Last year, they shattered that record, making $130 billion in the first 9 months of the year.
A primary rule of being in business is to be profitable. So taking aggregate figures from an industry that represents a large amount of our economy and employs over 3 million people in this country, I think we want to also put it into perspective about these large numbers that we're talking about here.
Climate-related events have caused substantial damage, resulting in insurance companies issuing large payouts. A Senate committee found that insured losses from natural disasters in the U.S. now routinely approach $100 billion a year.
The homeowners insurance market has been more challenging for the insurance companies, but they still have so much money to invest that they are doing fine. They're using this recognition of increased disasters as a chance to change the rules of the game so that they have to take on less risk and earn more premium.
Less risk for the insurance industry has meant pulling back from a number of states. ABC News analyzed data to find that the industry was issuing non-renewals most frequently in 10 states that saw extreme weather like hurricanes or wildfires, with average premiums increasing by 33% between 2020 and 2023, and areas with severe weather events taking an even bigger hit.
The way they respond to that is by raising price and writing less insurance. But in the long term, that gets outrun by the fact that climate change is only getting worse.
Dave Jones served 2 terms as the California Insurance Commissioner. These national insurance carriers are obviously for-profit companies. Should we blame them from pulling out of places where they think they're going to lose their shirts?
The major driver of climate change is our failure to transition from fossil fuels and greenhouse gas emitting industries. The U.S. insurance industry invests over $500 billion in the fossil fuel industry. Why are U.S. insurers allowed to invest over $500 billion in the very industry, the fossil fuel industry, whose emissions are making it challenging, if not impossible, for them to write insurance for real people and real businesses?
I would argue that the investments of the insurance industry are far outweighed with the likes of bonds and fixed investments that are doing more for community building. Regardless of where you stand, our world is reliant on fossil fuels. This industry is dedicated to keeping capital on hand for the long term so it can pay its claims.
As for Jules and Terry, they're still struggling to understand why their insurance company wasn't there for them as a safety net.
Well, an insurance company is supposed to protect you. That's why they're there. So it makes no sense why they would drop us or anyone else, especially when they have the funds to insure people.
So many similar heartbreaking stories. Our thanks to Matt Gutman for that. Still ahead, it's the rematch of a lifetime. The Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles will meet again in the Super Bowl. So how much will it cost to see these popular teams go toe-to-toe? But next, we all know egg prices are high. Just how much bird flu is impacting your grocery bills by the numbers.
The Kardashians are here!
What have you been up to?
What haven't we been up to?
We're going to Vegas.
This is my 40th birthday.
Kim and Chloe take India.
That Monday.
I feel like Cinderella at the ball.
Corey! Here, I make a hole in his closet.
You must really like him.
Such a stage mom.
Where do you think she learned it?
I'm Kris Jenner. Oh my God, I'm Kris Jenner.
the news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia. We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today,
off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal.
Outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there. You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops. Friday night, a mystery that shook a small town.
I woke up to the gunshot. Mom, she's hysterical.
Then, after losing her first husband, how could this happen?
Okay, she's had not one, but 2 husbands shot in the head.
Miriam became convinced she was being watched.
And then
there's a dramatic discovery under her doormat.
It's a handwritten note. Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run.
All new 2020 Friday night on ABC.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
Get excited.
I love that so much. It's time for GMA Life.
GMA Life, streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home.
Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays only on Disney+.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
Hurricane Helene
Screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
taking you to the center of the story. As news breaks live.
ABC News Live is there for you all morning live.
Right there.
As events unfold across the day, breaking down the day's top stories.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekend.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico, in the path of Tropical Storm Ernesto. I'm Mike Ajachi, and wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're now streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. During Donald Trump's campaign, he repeatedly promised he would lower food prices if he became president. After polling voters during the last election, we learned there are few things that they care about more than inflation. And one small indicator of inflation, the price of eggs, which have become more expensive as an increasing number of chickens in the U.S. become infected with the deadly bird flu. The price of eggs is tonight by the numbers. The average wholesale price of a dozen large loose white eggs is now $6.55, according to the USDA. That's an increase of 61% in just the last month alone. Average retail prices for grade A large eggs in December were a bit more reasonable, $4.15 on average for a dozen, but they had been just $3.65 in November. Store prices are typically lower than wholesale because eggs, like milk, are loss leaders retailers use to get you in the door. The reason for the jump in prices, of course, the deadly H5N1 bird flu, which has infected or killed 136 million birds in the U.S. since 2022. But the outbreak has recently gotten much worse. More than 30 million chickens, about 10% of the nation's egg-laying population, has been killed in just the past 3 months. 67 people in the U.S. are confirmed to have been infected by bird flu due to contact with animals. The CDC says there have been no person-to-person infections, which for now keeps the risk to the general public low. But they caution that surveillance should remain vigilant. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Actress Carrie Preston, who plays attorney Elsbeth Tassioni on CBS's hit series Elsbeth, is here and explains how her character still bewitches audiences 14 years later. And one couple from Altadena, California, lost almost everything in the wildfires, but in the rubble, they rediscovered a very special piece of jewelry. Find out what they did next. Stay with us.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia. We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, the ruins of Rafah. From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill. In western Portugal. Outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
Freeze Morgan Guillory Major Crimes.
Where did you get this?
Check out at the dollar store. You hired me because I notice things that you miss.
Let's solve this case.
Bingo. Our killer's name is Dubois.
Did you just Google who's the killer on your phone, Morgan?
No, I did not do that.
This family is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're going to make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
There's a new trend on the red carpet. Celebrities opening up about dissolving facial fillers and swearing them off for good.
I'm so against any kind of body filler. I had to reverse all of that damage.
It's like everybody's chasing this one look.
I would just say don't rush into anything unless you're 100% sure.
Facelift after fillers, now streaming on Hulu.
The Kardashians are here!
What have you been up to?
What haven't we been up to?
We're going to Vegas. This is my 40th birthday.
Kim and Chloe take India.
Monday.
I feel like Cinderella at the ball.
Corey! Here, I make a hole in his closet. You must really like him. Such a stage mom. Where do you think she learned it?
I'm Kris Jenner. Oh my God, I'm Kris Jenner.
Super Bowl 59, the teams and the halftime show are set. The tickets cost how much? Tax filing season is here, when you can expect your refund, and a silver, or is it gold lining found among the rubble after the Los Angeles fires. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
The State Department ordered a sweeping freeze on new funding for almost all U.S. foreign aid, making exceptions for emergency food programs and military aid to Israel and Egypt. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said all foreign assistance programs will be reviewed to ensure they are consistent with the America First agenda. The U.S. provides more foreign aid globally than any other country, budgeting about $60 billion in 2023, or about 1% of the U.S. budget. World leaders and dozens of Holocaust survivors gathered today at the former site of the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland to commemorate the 80th anniversary of its liberation by Soviet troops at the end of World War II. Attendees were asked by organizers not to speak at the ceremony and instead listen and observe as they toured the grounds where Nazi German forces murdered more than 1 million people. The ceremony is regarded as the last major observance of Auschwitz's liberation that any notable number of survivors will be able to attend because of their ages. It's official. We are getting a rematch. The Kansas City Chiefs will take on the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. Both teams won their respective conference championships and have punched their ticket to head south to New Orleans. Tickets for the big game are not cheap. StubHub shows them starting at around $5,500 for nosebleeds and almost $65,000 for a front row seat behind the Eagles sideline. Rapper Kendrick Lamar will be headlining the halftime show, along with a guest appearance from singer-songwriter SZA. Tax filing season kicks off today as the U.S. Internal Revenue Service begins accepting completed tax forms. Americans can file anytime before April 15th. The IRS said earlier this month that it expects more than 140 million individual tax returns to be filed by that deadline. Refunds are typically sent within 21 days, the agency says. And rising from the ashes, like thousands of families who lost their homes in the devastating Los Angeles wildfires, Brian McShay and Stephanie Rayner of Altadena have been spending their time sifting through the rubble. Besides their pets, they lost everything, including the engagement ring Brian had just purchased for Stephanie. Or so he thought.
Really didn't have a lot of hope. But I mean, you just brush away some rubble and there's a little ring and you pick that up and it's actually a washer to something, and that happens like 4 times. And then you pick it up and you pick up the thing and there's a little diamond.
Brian immediately got down on one knee and proposed on the spot.
And I was on my knees and I was like, "Hey, will you marry me?"
I'm crying.
Yeah, just crying.
Today, the only living recipient of a pig organ, Tawana Looney, is celebrating something many doubted she would ever see, marking 2 months since undergoing her experimental kidney transplant, making her the longest living survivor of the procedure. Our Morgan Norwood interviewed her exclusively shortly after her surgery.
How were you feeling that morning when you woke up?
Oh my God, the energy, the blood flow. I could feel the blood flow through my veins. That's how strong the kidney was pumping.
You could feel the difference?
I could feel the difference. I told my nurse, I said, "Hey, I got a heartbeat in my lip." she said, "Tawana," I said, "Oh, this kidney is strong."
And we certainly wish Tawana continued good health. The popular series on CBS, Elsbeth, is beloved by audiences because it's safe to say there is no TV attorney like its main character, Elsbeth Tassioni, played by actress Carrie Preston, who you've seen on True Blood, Claws, The Good Wife, and The Good Fight. Elsbeth is ditzy yet brilliant, often both at the same time, helping to solve crimes in a way that never ceases to annoy NYPD brass. Let's take a look.
Wow, you must really love Japan.
I healed myself in Asia after living a toxic life in finance.
Healed yourself? How did you do that?
You'll see, Elsbeth. Welcome. Take off your shoes and go sit with your journey partner, Cheryl.
Joining us now in studio is the equally charming Carrie Preston. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you have played Elsbeth now for 14 years, first The Good Wife, The Good Fight, but in both of those scenarios, she was a guest star, really, guest side character. When did you realize that there were murmurings that, you know, you might have your own show?
You know, early on, I got the script for this wonderful show that I was already a fan of, and I read the character, and I thought, there's something special about this character. And then I was trusted with it, and it started airing, and something just felt like it was a little more electric than anything else I had ever done. And so fans started saying, "Oh, you know what? She would be great for a spinoff. She'd be great for a spinoff." And I would just hear it periodically as I was playing the role over the years. And then they did do a spinoff, The Good Fight. But again, I was still a guest. And then it was around the pandemic when Robert and Michelle King, who created both of those shows, they started rewatching Columbo episodes. And then they thought, oh, now we could have an interesting kind of homage to Columbo, but with Elsbeth instead.
Now, what did you originally read? What was written in about her character or your character? And what did you kind of add and sprinkle in over time?
You know, actually, Robert King, when I first got the role, he said, we're thinking of her as like a female Columbo. So it is kind of fun that we are full circle here. And so then I would take, you know, what was going on between the lines and start adding my own kind of pizzazz or, you know, flavor to that. And then the writers started writing to that, and here we are.
And you've also directed episodes of Claws and also The Good Fight. What do you prefer potentially about directing over acting?
You know, directing, you kind of have to get inside the skin of every single person on the set, from the actors to the crew to the writers and everything. But when you're in acting, you're really only responsible for that one thing. So sometimes I feel like I want a big workout, I direct. And sometimes if I want to just focus in on, you know, what the original love is, the plan A, so to speak, I stick with the acting. This is the dream come true to play this role. So I don't know if I could do double duty directing myself. You know, I'm just happy to be playing this part, and I want to just do it as well as I can.
So no chance then that you would be directing Elsbeth?
You know, I'm not going to ever say no,
Okay.
but not this season. I'm still just getting my, I feel like I'm still getting my sea legs.
Your earliest gigs were, of course, in New York in theater. Any role out there that might take you back to the stage?
You know, I often get asked that, and I could have never even dreamt of the role of Elsbeth. So I kind of feel like there's some play out there, there's some new play, there's some character that I couldn't even dream of that hopefully will find its way to me, and maybe one day I'll be back on the stage. I do miss it.
Do you have a preference, or are they two totally different?
You know, theater is my first love, and I certainly, you know, that's how I made my debut in New York City, was on stage. But I really fell in love with television and film, and I keep winding up there, you know, whether I'm acting or directing or producing or something. But, you know, the theater's always there, and I hope that they will welcome me back at some point.
And I'm sure there's an open invitation. Carrie Preston, thank you so much for coming on. Elsbeth returns to CBS in the second half of their second season, starting this Thursday, January 30th at 10 p.m. Eastern, and will also stream on Paramount+. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, the new and rare strain of bird flu that has experts concerned, and how the outbreak is impacting groceries. And President Trump's immigration crackdown is underway with ICE raids across the country. We'll be talking with a Chicago leader about what's happening there.
Friday night, a mystery that shook a small town.
I woke up to the gunshot. Mom, she's hysterical.
Then, after losing her first husband, how could this happen?
Okay, she's had not one, but two husbands shot in the head.
Miriam became convinced she was being watched.
And then
there's a dramatic discovery under her doormat.
It's a handwritten note. Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run.
All new 2020, Friday night on ABC.
This family is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're gonna make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too. I'll be there.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara,
Ginger.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home. Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story. As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
Are you going to build it back up?
And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
I'm Rachel Scott reporting from President Trump's inaugural parade. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with President Trump's immigration crackdown. Agents are conducting what they call targeted operations across the country. ICE reporting nearly 1,800 arrests in just 24 hours, and the Trump administration vows they will expand. Multiple law enforcement agencies are taking part in the raids. Similar scenes are playing out from Chicago to Atlanta to Los Angeles. Undocumented immigrants are now being deported in military aircraft, and when Colombia's president tried to turn 2 planes away, President Trump threatened a 25% tariff on all Colombian imports. Colombia's president threatened tariffs right back, but eventually conceded. Other countries, including Mexico, are now preparing shelters for a possible influx of deported people, and in immigrant communities, fear is setting in as hundreds of protesters take to the streets to support them. Immigrant rights groups are speaking out, advising families on how to respond in the case of a raid. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, leads us off from Florida tonight.
Tonight, in cities across the country, a surge in immigration raids like this one in Chicago. Agents pulling a man from a home.
It was your car, right?
Walking him out to their waiting vehicles. Part of a 24-hour nationwide roundup the Trump administration says arrested 956 undocumented immigrants, the highest daily number since Trump was sworn in. Border Czar Tom Homan in Chicago to supervise the operation there, but the sweeps from coast to coast. In Denver, agents raiding a nightclub, detaining around 50 people. A bus driving them away. The DEA says they were associated with the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. These are the images the administration wants out there, hoping to convince undocumented migrants to self-deport and others not to come in the first place. Here in Miami, Homeland Security posting these photos, agents leading people away in handcuffs.
There's a more robust posture out there. We're making more arrests. We're doing, like I said, what the law intends that we do, and we are doing it, but just more on a like I said, in a more overt presence.
The local ICE field director says they're targeting violent offenders, but they're not stopping there.
Are other undocumented immigrants off the table right now?
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily they're off the table. That's kind of on a case-by-case basis. We make a discretionary call on every case that we arrest, whether that's a criminal or not a criminal, but we're going to take an enforcement action on every individual.
What does the next stage look like?
The next stage is going to be, again, we're still going to go after the worst first, but as we go through those lists, individuals primarily with final orders of removal, perhaps that don't have criminal records, I would say those would be the next priorities that we'll go after, and eventually we'll see where that leads us to.
In some communities where undocumented immigrants work and pay taxes, a sense of fear setting in.
We are here to address the fear. No one should be afraid to go to work. No child should be afraid to go to school.
This as military jets flying migrants out of the United States. Another C-17 heading to Guatemala tonight. Over the weekend, the government of Colombia refusing to allow 2 American military planes carrying migrants to land. President Trump threatening to impose heavy tariffs on Colombian imports, which would have spiked prices at the grocery store on coffee and other products. Colombia fired back, threatening to slap tariffs on American goods. But before long, they backed down, agreeing to accept the deportation flights.
We've made it clear to every country that they will be
taking back our people. And if they don't, they'll pay a very high economic price.
Tonight, south of the border, Mexican authorities preparing for an influx of deportees. Drone footage showing massive tent shelters now under construction.
Rachel Scott reporting. The city of Chicago has been in President Trump's crosshairs for some time now as the immigration crackdown there gets underway. Alderman Byron Sigcho-Lopez joins us now for a closer look at just what's happening there. Alderman, thank you so much for joining us. What are you hearing from the people you serve there?
Well, from our constituents, we're getting a lot of fear and a lot of panic, especially parents unable to and afraid to send their kids to school, businesses that are experiencing significant losses because people are afraid to leave their homes, people even missing medical appointments because of the fear and panic that the Trump administration is creating in our city.
The city has launched a Know Your Rights campaign in advance of these raids. What do people who may encounter ICE agents need to know?
They got to know that, like everybody else, the presumption of innocence, according to the law, know the rights, the right to stay silent, the right for an attorney, and the right of due process. I do think that this is about safety. I do think that it's inappropriate to deploy, Secret Service in our local schools or in churches or hospitals.
Two of your Democratic colleagues in the city council have proposed allowing police officers to work with federal agents to deport immigrants who break the law. They've said it's a way to narrow the scope of the raids and may appease the federal government at the same time. What's your stance on that?
Like 39 other of my colleagues, that was defeated 39-11 in the city council. Federal government deploying so much resources to harass innocent families, neighbors, places of worship and hospitals and schools is deplorable and must be condemned. It's unconscionable, and I think we deserve better.
Chicago had a significant deficit last year. Some residents blame the city's spending on migrants. Is there any truth to that?
Well, the city of Chicago had to, and I think this is the irony, we receive 50,000 more residents because of the Republican governor in Texas sent them here inhumanely without any plan. I think that here, the root of all of this, it has to be an important and an urgent need for the federal government, instead of creating more frenzy and fights, diplomatic fights with other countries, actual solutions that bring us to prevent more people to flee their country. Being the border, I saw with my own eyes the inhumane conditions at the border, the situation here in our city, people in police stations, 2 minors died in transit. The city did everything we can, as we do, to protect human rights and civil rights.
Okay, but there are people who say that the city's budget showed that they spent $400 million on new migrants and had a deficit of $235 million last year. Is there a correlation to the deficit there?
Well, I think we see also developers just in 2019 took $2.3 billion for housing that was never built. I do think that for us to save human life, I think in the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights leaders, we, of course, understand that needs to be done more for our residents in Chicago, which is one of the most diverse cities in the country. I think the city had to do everything it can to prevent human losses. And again, this is something of the responsibility of the federal government.
Alderman Byron Sigcho-Lopez, we thank you so much for your time. President Trump is moving quickly to remake the U.S. military and expected to sign several new executive actions, including one calling for an Iron Dome missile defense system for the U.S. It comes as newly confirmed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth arrived at the Pentagon for the first time, greeted by America's top general, Joint Chiefs Chairman C.Q. Brown. For what Hegseth said when asked if he would fire General Brown, here's our Chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Newly minted Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth arrived at the Pentagon today. After a squeaker of a confirmation vote, the Senate split 50-50, Vice President J.D. Vance breaking the tie.
Good morning, everybody. How we doing? It's an honor to be here.
Hegseth's first day comes with new executive actions by President Trump. A call for what Trump dubs an Iron Dome for America, a missile defense shield similar to Israel's. It would likely cost hundreds of billions of dollars that Congress would need to approve. Another executive action calls for the military to reinstate with full back pay and benefits any service members who were terminated for refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Trump is also directing Hegseth to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and to change guidance that allowed transgender people to serve in the military. By some estimates, there are about 15,000 transgender troops now serving, about half of 1%.
The lawful orders of the President of the United States will be executed inside this Defense Department swiftly and without excuse.
The new secretary today was greeted by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown, someone Hegseth has said should be fired. Writing in his book, C.Q. Brown doesn't so much care if quality individuals serve at the Air Force Academy, so long as they all look different or more like him. Today, Hegseth was asked if he still wants to fire General Brown.
Joint Chiefs of Staff and other members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Standing with it right now. Look forward to working with him.
Jonathan Karl joins us now from the White House. And John, what's the latest from the Department of Justice?
Lindsay, we've learned that the Department of Justice has abruptly fired more than a dozen career prosecutors who had done some work on Jack Smith's special counsel investigations. These were career prosecutors, some of whom had worked for years in both Republican and Democratic administrations. The acting attorney general said they were fired because of their work for Jack Smith meant that they could no longer be trusted to carry out the Trump agenda. But a very abrupt move that involved some quite senior officials over at the Justice Department.
Lots of moving parts these days. All right, John Karl from the White House. John, thanks so much.
Thank you.
A Chinese company has announced a powerful new AI tool sending U.S. tech stocks into a steep dive. The tech-heavy NASDAQ index dropped 3%. One stock, NVIDIA, set the record for the biggest single-day loss ever. Many of America's giant tech companies have bet their futures on AI. What does China's success mean for them now? Here's our chief business and economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis.
Tonight, the biggest single-day loss for a stock ever. Shares of NVIDIA, which makes the chips used to power artificial intelligence, plunging nearly $600 billion. The sell-off triggered by the emergence of a powerful and more efficient new Chinese AI chatbot called DeepSeek. Its release, a kind of wake-up call to investors, causing them to rethink U.S. supremacy and the costs in the battle for AI dominance. DeepSeek, the app, tonight #1 in both Apple and Google's app stores, built in China, allegedly at a fraction of the cost, using far less energy than Western competitors like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, recently named to President Trump's new AI project, Stargate, warned about the technology in the wrong hands when we spoke in 2023.
This will be the greatest technology humanity has yet developed.
So in the wrong human hands, it could be a very different device.
We do worry a lot about authoritarian governments developing this.
Perhaps some ominous foreshadowing there. Rebecca Jarvis joins us now. Rebecca, a bad day for tech stocks for sure, but what's the big picture here?
Well, when you zoom out, Lindsay, the stock market is still up over the last year, 22%. That's the S&P 500, which is what's reflected in most 401ks. And I have to add that President Trump has just taken notice of what's happened with DeepSeek. He's just talked about this new development from Chinese AI, and he's called it a wake-up call to U.S. companies, saying it is a message to them they must compete and win. Lindsay?
Rebecca Jarvis reporting for us. Thanks so much, Rebecca. In the Middle East, the shaky ceasefire in Gaza is holding, and today Hamas provided more information on hostages with more new releases and prisoner exchanges planned for this week. Meantime, striking images today as hundreds of thousands of Palestinians return to their homes in the north after more than a year of being displaced. Here's our foreign correspondent, Brit Clennett.
More than 300,000 Palestinians returning to northern Gaza for the first time tonight. Massive crowds and long lines walk this main highway along the sea. Families, children smiling, singing in the streets as they return to what's left of their homes. Wayal grateful to be back unharmed, even though her home is flattened and her family must now live in a tent. What happens to Gaza is still uncertain. President Trump suggesting to clean out the Gaza Strip by moving Palestinians to another country.
I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. I mean, you're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing.
Just 24 hours ago, the fragile ceasefire deal seemed to be on the brink after Israel accused Hamas of withholding a hostage. Hamas later agreeing to release 3 hostages on Thursday, on top of a scheduled hostage prisoner exchange on Saturday. Still no word on whether American Sagi Dekelchen and Keith Siegel are part of that release.
Britt Clennett joins us now from Jerusalem. Britt, this ceasefire is indeed so precarious. What's the situation there tonight?
Hi, Lindsay. Yeah, as you say, the ceasefire still fragile and nothing about it has been straightforward so far. The IDF now saying they fired on multiple positions in central Gaza after they say their soldiers came under threat. That's as we see those tens of thousands of people returning to their homes. Lindsay.
All right, Britt Clennett from Jerusalem. Thanks so much, Britt. Tonight, a new and rare strain of bird flu has turned up in California. This is the nation's bird flu outbreak has sent egg prices soaring at grocery stores everywhere. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, as a fast-moving bird flu outbreak sends egg prices skyrocketing.
$14.99 for eggs?
Word, the U.S. has now detected a different, more rare strain of bird flu in California. According to a new global health alert, that farm was forced to destroy nearly 119,000 birds. Last week, a farm on New York's Long Island had to kill 100,000 ducks after an outbreak. And in Illinois, Cockadoodle Farm lost 3,000 hens in a matter of days.
We're like, oh, maybe it's environmental or, and the next day hundreds were gone. And we're like, this is something.
Despite 67 human cases of bird flu and 1 death, there has been no confirmed person-to-person spread. Just days after Donald Trump took office, there are questions about missing updates on bird flu. Health agencies have been ordered to pause public communications until it's been reviewed and approved by a presidential appointee. Former White House COVID response coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha is urging the new administration to take bird flu seriously.
The biggest lesson from COVID is if you get on top of things early, if you do surveillance, if you do testing, it doesn't have to be disruptive. And that is what I'm worried we're going to make the same set of mistakes.
And Lindsay, Cathay Pacific says that its engineers are inspecting that plane. So far, the airline hasn't said what may have caused the smoke. The FAA says it is looking into a potential mechanical issue. Linz?
Yeah, thank you. A rare earthquake was felt in parts of the Northeast this morning. Some residents in New York, Maine, and Boston felt the 3.8 magnitude quake. The earthquake was centered off the coast of New Hampshire and Maine. The U.S. Geological Survey said earthquakes are unusual, but not unheard of along the Atlantic seaboard. A train carrying a couple 100,000 pounds of soybeans derailed near Ohio's border with Kentucky. 8 of the 107 cars on the train derailed and 3 turned over, according to emergency officials. It's believed extreme cold caused the rails to become fragile and break. The train was carrying more than 200,000 pounds of soybeans. Cleanup is expected to take at least 24 hours. Authorities are investigating a deadly accident on the tarmac at the Charlotte Douglas Airport in North Carolina. American Airlines says that an employee was struck and killed by a vehicle on the ramp near the airline gates. Still much more to get to. Coming up, officials in South Korea release a report on last month's deadly plane crash, but some key evidence is missing.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia. We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal.
Outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there. You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops. Friday night, a mystery that shook a small town.
I woke up to the gunshot. Mom, she's hysterical.
Then, after losing her first husband, how could this happen?
Okay, she's had not one, but 2 husbands shot in the head.
Miriam became convinced she was being watched.
And then
there's a dramatic discovery under her doormat.
It's a handwritten note. Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run.
All new 2020, Friday night on ABC.
There's a neat trend on the red carpet. Celebrities opening up about dissolving facial fillers and swearing them off for good.
I'm so against any kind of body filler. I had to reverse all of that damage. It's like everybody's chasing this one look. I would just say don't rush into anything unless you're 100% sure.
Facelift After Fillers, now streaming on Hulu.
Reporting from the West Bank, I'm Tom Soupy Burridge. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Thousands of families fled the city of Goma in eastern Congo Monday as Rwandan-backed rebels claimed they've captured the key city. Government officials called the rebel advance a declaration of war. Goma is home to roughly 2 million people and is a key location in the conflict-battered region whose minerals are critical to much of the world's technology. Rebel groups have long fought for control over it. The final 4 minutes of a flight recording before a Jeju air flight crashed are missing, according to a preliminary report released on Monday. The plane crashed at the end of a South Korean runway last month, killing 179 people. 2 crew members survived. The report finds that right before the end of the recording, air traffic control warned the plane to be cautious of bird activity. Authorities in the Netherlands are on the hunt for the thieves who pulled off a major art heist at a Dutch museum. The incident was caught on surveillance video as the suspects used explosives to blow open a door. They made off with several gold artifacts, including a golden helmet that dates back some 2,500 years and is one of Romania's most prized national treasures. And still to come, commemorating 80 years since the liberation of the Nazi death camp Auschwitz.
This family is suffocated. We are all here to help them. We're gonna make this happen. We have 96 hours to build a house.
Come on, guys, it's moving day. Let's go. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Thursday on ABC and stream on Hulu.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story. As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight
ABC News Live.
because the news never stops.
The Kardashians are here!
What have you been up to?
What haven't we been up to?
We're going to Vegas.
This is my 40th birthday.
Kim and Chloe take India.
That Monday. I feel like Cinderella at the ball.
Here, I make a hole his closet.
You must really like him.
Such a stage mom. Where do you think she learned it?
I'm Kris Jenner.
Oh my God, I'm Kris Jenner.
I'm 110% ready to fall in love.
Tall, handsome, smart. He's perfect. Time just stood still.
It's kind of already sinking in that these other girls are dating my boyfriend.
Everybody just really wants Grant, and we're all fighting for his love.
You act like you don't care.
He knows how I feel.
I know I'm in trouble. Everyone's so mean. I did not know how hard this was going to be.
There's a neat trend on the red carpet. Celebrities opening up about dissolving facial fillers
and swearing them off for good.
I'm so against any kind of body filler. I had to reverse all of that damage.
It's like everybody's chasing this one look.
I would just say don't rush into anything unless you're 100% sure.
Facelift After Fillers, now streaming on Hulu.
Tonight marks the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. You may remember ABC News traveled back to Auschwitz with survivors. They were just children when they were liberated. They made a life for themselves in the United States. And tonight, some have gone back. They've sent us a message about what they're seeing in the world, even back home here in the U.S. Here's World News Tonight anchor David Muir.
The sun rising this morning over the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland. It was 80 years ago today, survivors were liberated, many of them children. And every year, fewer and fewer of them are still with us. It was 5 years ago we traveled back with survivors who made a life for themselves here in the U.S., among them Tova Friedman.
Tova.
Oh, hi. We will never forget what Tova told us right there at Auschwitz, why she went back after 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, more than 1 million at this camp.
That we didn't forget them. That I remember the little girl going into the crematorium, and she wouldn't come back that I played with.
You remember them?
You know, we remember. That's what it is. We remember. I remember walking in cold.
It was Tova who wanted to go back to the crematorium. She wanted to offer a prayer that day to those who did not get to leave like she did. Tonight, she is now 86 and back in Poland. This time, world leaders listening to her story. Ukraine's President Zelensky, King Charles, all there today, as survivors, including Tova, urge the world not to forget.
We will never, never, ever allow history to repeat itself. The time is short. The task is great. We may not be able to complete it, but we have an obligation to start. Thank you.
And on this Holocaust Remembrance Day, Tova sending us this message from overseas.
You and I, David, we walked together into a crematorium that was still left. In a year from now, in 2 years from now, in 5 years from now, there'll be nobody who will have the memory, who will be a witness. So I see my role as a witness.
Telling us she is concerned over what she is seeing, the anti-Semitism here in the U.S. and around the world.
Anti-Semitism is rampant. The world has become isolated. People have become isolated from each other. And yet, the hatred has increased. Maybe we can reach the younger generation to be not so angry.
She is counting on the next generation, including her own family. It's why she felt it was important to take them in while we were there.
Oh, it's like all the way.
The world needs to know this can't happen.
The world needs to know and to beware of its evil, to stop the evil before it spreads. And this is the end of evil.
A message for so many today. Our thanks to David Muir for that. That is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a good night.
Wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo.